Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. This is part 24 of the ecommerce app playlist. In this video, we will be implementing the add to cart functionality. We want to make sure to add this product with its specification, with a selected color and selected size inside the cart collection. Now to achieve that, we're going to create a new collection, a sub-collection inside each user document. So for example, for this user, we are inside the user collection right now. For this user, for example, we're going to create a collection called cart, and that collection is going to have documents of the product that added into that cart. So we can actually create that by the Firebase console. If we click on the start collection, and let's say we name this cart, click on next, and here we can add any document, doesn't matter, click on save. As you can see now, that user has a sub-collection that's called cart, and this collection has all the products that the user added to his cart. So that's how we're gonna achieve that. So I'm gonna delete this collection now. Delete collection. You need to type the same name of your collection, then click on delete. And now we're just gonna jump into Android Studio and start doing that. First of all, we want to create a data class to represent the data of our cart product. So go to your data package, right click, create a new Kotlin class and select data class. So call this cart product. And for the cart product, we want to have our product. We also need to have the quantity, which is integer. We need also to have the selected color, and this is integer, and this might be null because not all the products have a color. Same thing for the size, so val selected size could be a nullable string. And one thing we want to do is the empty constructor, because later on we're gonna retrieve these products, and when we use the toObject function that comes with Firestore, that function actually requires you to have your empty constructor. So let's actually do that. Open curly brackets, constructor, and this uses this keyboard which refers to our parent constructor. And now we can pass the arguments. So we pass product, and for the quantity just pass 1. For the selected color, can pass null, same thing for the size. Okay, that's it for this class. Now we want to create a view model for our details fragment. So call this details view model. And for the dependencies that we're gonna inject for this view model, we need Firestore to save a sub-collection inside the user document. So Firestore, we also need the Firebase authentication so we can get the user UID, and we want something else, but we're not gonna put it now. So for now, let's actually use inject, and we're gonna use constructor keyword to inject our dependencies. First of all, the Firestore, which is Firebase Firestore. We also want the Firebase authentication. And before I forget, I'm just gonna annotate this with health view model. Then we can extend it from view model class. Now in here, let's have our state, so we can update the UI later. Val, or let's make this private. Call this add to cart. Mutable state flow. And give this resource dot unspecified, and for the generics resource, and that resource is going to have data of cart product. We're not gonna use that, but we're just gonna pass it to the UI. And we also need the public state, like that. Now we're gonna create a function that's gonna add the product into the user cart collection. but there are different two scenarios. The first scenario is if the product is already in the cart and the user clicks on the add cart button again. In this case, we just want to increase the quantity, but if that product was different or was not added into the cart at all, so we want to actually add it. So our function is going to do two things in here. Call this add update product in cart, and in here we need to pass the cart product to this function. Now in here we want to check if that a product exists in our cart sub collection. So we can do it like this. Can say firestore.collection. We want to access our user collection. By the way, make sure that you use small letter in here, because if you use capital letter or if you change anything of your collection name, you won't get results. So it's actually sensitive to the upper and lower case. So make sure to just check your collections in here and match them with your functions. Now in here we're going to access our user document. So we can say document, this one, the one that comes with this parameter. This one, the one comes that with this argument. So we're gonna send the document path, which is the user UID, because when we save the user document, we saved it by the ID of that user. So here we can say authentication.uid. Now this might be null, but this will never be null because the user is already logged in. It is impossible that the user can reach to the details fragment and without signing. So this is an impossible case. Now we want to access the cart sub collection. So collection cart, or let's actually keep it small letter. And then we can say where equal to. In here we said that we want to check if that product exists in our cart collection. However, if this cart collection is not created, this will actually create it. And now we want to compare between the product that the user is trying to add to the cart with the product that is previously into the cart. So if they are the same, then we can just increase the quantity. And to compare that, we use where equal to. And in here, we're not just gonna pass the field, because if I show you the cart product here has a product class, and then that product class has the ID. So here we have nested objects, and when we're dealing with a nested object, we need to pass kind of like the path of that argument. So we can say product.id. This will make sure to go to the product, then go to the ID. After that, we're going to specify the value, which is the product ID. So we can say cart product.product.id, and after that we can call get. Then we can call add on success. Make this a new line, and add on failure. So in here we can get our documents. We can say it.documents. However, if this function returns documents, that means we're only gonna have one product, because we filter it by the ID and each product has its unique ID. So in here we can say it.document.let, and we can check if the documents is empty. So if it's empty, that means we don't have that product added already into our cart. So we want to add it. So in here I'm gonna make a comment that says add a new product. And here else. Now else we first want to get the product, so we can say product equals to add.first. That's always gonna be the first, because we're only gonna have only one product. And then we can use toObject. We can convert that to our cart product. After that, we will compare this product that we got from the cart collection with the product that the user is trying to add. If they are equal, then we can increase the quantity. If they are not, then we add a new product. Now this depends on you. You might need to change this logic. I want to do this logic because sometimes the user change maybe the color or the size. So in this case, we want to add a new product, not changing the quality. So this function or these lines will make sure to do that. In here we can say if product equals to our cart product. And in here, as we said, we can just increase the quantity. Else than that, we can again add a new product. So I'm going to copy this comment, paste it in here. Okay, this is our logic in here. Before I forget, let's actually launch view model scope to emit the loading case for this state. So add to cart.emit. Here we can say resource.loading. And inside on failure listener, we can emit the error. So view model scope.launch. And we can say emit resource.error, and we pass the error message. Okay, now for these functions, for the add a new product and increase the quantity functions, I'm gonna create them inside the Firebase package. I'm gonna create a class for that, and the reason is because we're going to use them in other classes or other fragments. So we wanna make sure to add them in a common class, for example, and then we can use it anywhere in our project. So in here, I'm going to name this class Firebase Common. And for the dependencies in this class, the Firestore. And we also need the Firebase authentication. Now in here, I'm just going to exit the cart subcollection because I don't want to just write that again and again. So we're just gonna make a member variable in this class for that cart collection. So we can name this, or we can make it private val cart collection equals to firestore.collection. We want to exit the user collection first. Then for that specific user, we want to pass the ID for that user. And again, this will not be null. Collection, we want to exit the cart collection. Now let's create two functions. The first one is to add a product into our cart. And this one is going to receive the cart product that we want to add into the collection. And there's a lambda function called onResult. Then this will actually send the cart product or the exception. So this will handle the error and the success cases, and then return a unit. So in this function, we will just save that product into our collection, and you already know how to do that. So let's do it real quick. Cart product dot document cart collection dot document dot set, and here we pass our cart collection or cart product. Then we can call add on success listener and add on failure listener. In the unsuccess listener, we can say onResult, and we can pass the cart product and null for the exception. Same thing in here. Sorry, we forgot to make this nullable. Same thing in here, pass null and pass the exception. Now for the other function, which is actually complicated, so this will be increase quantity, and here we want the document ID, which is a string, and same, we just want onResult to handle both cases. Now in here we want to use a Firebase transaction. So what is that? Well, with Firebase transaction, you make sure that all the operation happens at once. If any operation fails, then everything runs with that transaction will be failed. So what we're gonna do now is to run a transaction using Firestore, retrieve our product, increase the quantity, then save the updated product. So let's actually do that. In here we can see firestore.run transaction. And by the way, there's one batch. Run batch is used to only read documents or read data from your Firestore, and run transaction used to read and write at the same time. So we'll use run transaction because we want to read first, then update our quantity. In here we can rename this to transaction. And first of all, we're going to get our cart product document. So we can say val document equals to transaction.get. In here we need to pass the path of our document, so I'm gonna just create it above here. Call this document reference cart collection dot document, and we can pass the document ID. In here we can just pass the document reference. Now down here we want to get our object of this document, so we can say val product object equals to document.toObject, and we can just cast this into our product, to our cart product. And now this might be null, which will actually want to be null, but just in case we wanna make a null check like this and name this cart product. Now in here we wanna create the new quantity, so we can say val new quantity equals to cart product dot quantity. Then we add 1 to that. After that we will create our new product object, so we can say val new product object, which is going to be the same as our cart product, but we're gonna change the new quantity. So we can say cart product dot copy, and here we're only gonna change the quantity and pass the new quantity. So the copy here is an extension function that will copy your object, and then you can only pass, or you can only change one data or one argument of that object, and that's what we're doing here. And now we can call transaction.set to update that .set, and we can actually pass the document reference, then the new product object. Now finally that's it. We can call add on success and add on failure. In add on success we're going just to copy this one, paste it, but this time we will send a string, and we're just gonna return the document ID, and same thing in here, result will pass null, then pass it. Okay, that's it for these two functions. Now get back to the details view model, and in here now we're gonna need to use that. So we're gonna have an instance from that class, private val firebase common, and we will later provide this inside our app module, but I just also want to make this private, the authentication. And in here let's actually create two functions inside our view model. These are gonna be private functions. The first one is add new product, gonna receive the cart product, and we can use firebase common dot add product to cart, pass our product. Then in here we can get our added product and our exception. So what we can do in here, we can just launch view model scope to update our state, and we can say if the exception is null, so if e equals null, then we can emit add to cart.emit resource.success, and we can pass the added product. And this will not be null, so add double exclamation mark in here. Else than that, we will emit our error, so add to cart.emit resource.error, and we pass e.message.toString. Now let's create the increase quantity function. Private function increase quantity. In here we pass the ID, which is a string, and the cart product, which is also, let's actually rename this to make it clearer. So this will be the document ID. And in here we're going to use firebase common dot increase quantity. In here we can say, or we can send the document ID And same thing, we will get the edit ID and the exception. However, we're not gonna need this edit ID. We're just gonna return, or we're gonna send this to our state. So we can just do the same. I'm gonna copy this, paste it in here, but rename this to E, and here we're just gonna send our cart product. And I'll remove this. Okay, now we can finally call this from here. So add a new product, we can call that function, and we can send the cart product. And for the increase quantity, we first want to get the document ID. We can say like that, it.first.id, and then we can call increase quantity. We can send the document ID and our cart product. And else than that, we need to add a new product. Just send our product. That's it for this view model. This was a long work, but that's how it's gonna work basically. Now we can finally go to our fragment, and let's first have our private var selected color. This is an integer, initially null, and we also want our selected size. We also want our view model, so we can say private val view model by view models, and we want to get the details view model. By the way, don't forget to add the Android entry point for dagger hilt for this fragment. Now in here we can use our size differ or size adapter on item click. So we're gonna update the selected size. Selected size equals to it. And also for the color, for the colors adapter, we're just gonna update the selected color. And now we can set a click listener on our button. In here we can say view model dot add update product. In here we want to create our cart product. We can say cart product. We can pass our product that we got from save args in here, and we can pass the quantity. So pass when, selected color, and selected size. Now you can add some logic in here. If you, for example, don't want the user to add the product until he selects a color and the size, so you can just add if statements in here before you ask for this function. I'm not gonna do that because it depends on you actually. It depends on your logic. And now we can launch lifecycle scope.launch when started, and we can listen to our state. We can collect that. So when it's loading, we will start the animation. So binding.button.card.start animation, and when it's resource.success, we will just stop the animation. And when it's resource.error, we also gonna stop the animation and show an error. So we can show a toast in here, required context, and we are going to show. However, you can actually do better error handling in this app. I don't do that, so you can do that on your own if you want to do it. So you can say it.message, and else than that, just don't do anything. We want to show a message to the user that the product was added. We can change the background color of our button. So you can say binding.button dot background resources dot get color r dot color dot black. This is deprecated, but it still works. So finally, let's launch the app. Hopefully everything works. One thing we forgot, and yes, I always forget that, is to add our dependency inside the module file. So in here we can provide that, the Firebase common, and we can just make this singleton. We can say provide Firebase common, and for that we're gonna need the Firebase authentication and Firestore. And Firestore, this equals to Firebase common, and we pass the Firestore and the Firebase authentication. Now launch the app, and I'm gonna open Firestore on my account. Okay, here's the app's running. Click on here, let's select this, click on add to cart, click on here. Okay, animation works. We have some weirdo black things showing here. Anyways, this actually worked because we changed the color. So if we go in here, and however, I'm currently logging with this account, so I'm just gonna click back on this account. As you can see, we have our cart collection. Click on that. We're supposed to see our product document. Click on that. As you can see, here is all the details about that product. We have everything. Now if I click again, which I can't now because we can't just revert the animation of this. Wait, I'm just gonna actually remove this and just gonna show a toast message for that. Let's actually say product was added. But one problem that might happen in here, if the user rotate the device, we will actually trigger this again because we're not using immutable shared flow. Let's actually run the app again and click on here, select this, click on add to cart. Okay, the product was added again. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We got the same product. However, this actually did not revert. I don't know why. Okay, I think we need to use revert animation. So I was using the wrong one. Let me restore everything and just use revert animation. Now we selected the black and 39. I'm gonna select the same thing on the next launch, and in here we should, when we click on add to cart, we should get quantity of 2 instead of adding a new document. Let's see that here, and select 39, add to cart. Okay, this works perfectly, and yup, that finally works. We actually updated the quantity because we're trying to add the same product. Now if I try to change the size and add to cart, now as you can see, we just added the new product, and that is it. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching this video. This might be one of the most important videos in this playlist because I covered transactions and sub collections and a lot of stuff. So thank you again for watching. I wish you have a great day and catch you in the next video.